The entire crypto market's on an uptick, but Kaspa is leapfrogging over other projects recently surpassing Filecoin, only starting to show a minute amount of its true strength. Once we upgrade from the measly 1 block per second to 10 blocks per second, only then will the doubters finally start to feel Kaspa's true power. This video, we're going to release sneak peeks from the Patreon, which we timed to be released this weekend, which is going to go into the fundamental research connecting Kaspa to the hugest power players in the world, from central banks to Coinbase, as well as break down this falling wedge pattern using an entirely new charting method known as origin trend lines. The past 200 days, we turned $12,500 into right now $250,000 in Kaspa, just to prove there are trend lines that are repeating themselves over and over again on the chart. We can clone these, set them up with Fibonacci pitch, and thus get an enormous advantage to our trading. Step number 13 is one of my favorites. This is where you're starting to find the strategic partners. Kaspa has some deep, dark strategic partners going all the way to the central banking systems. And this is one of the reasons why Kaspa is my #1 pick for this bull market. Do you guys know that Kaspa's not only connected directly to Coinbase, Kaspa's connected to the central banking system themselves through their second seed funding company known as Yes Capital, coming directly out of Berlin, Germany. Yes, this sounds like an evil mastermind headquarters to take over the financial world. As we know, after World War II, all of central banking became centralized inside of Berlin, Germany. With the imminent collapse of the fiat system, of course, these central bankers are very interested in crypto projects. Specifically, Yes Capital is also associated with PayPal. They seed funded Reserve Rights, Quant Zilquilla. Reserve Rights was recently scooped up by PayPal. They grabbed like 40% of the float. Of course, the other VC that was involved in seed funding Kaspa was Polychain Capital. The head of Polychain is named Olson Carlson. They're actually naming meme coins after this guy, like Carlson coin. He used to be an executive in Coinbase. So right away, in step 13 of the 24-point checklist on how to vet any cryptocurrency, you're trying to connect the VCs, the team members, the businesses that are on the web page, everyone that you can see is clearly associated with your project, to the massive power players, the US government, the central banks, Binance, Coinbase, Bitmain. We can see on social media, Kaspa is getting a lot of real world use cases. There was a Twitter post of somebody buying a candy bar and a pack of European cigarettes with Kaspa. The merchants have the logo, have the merchandise that says, "We accept Kaspa here." This is happening already all over Eastern Europe and parts of Africa. Now, the thing is, I believe it's step number 15 on the checklist. We have to analyze these different global areas because they're completely different than the United States. In Eastern Europe and Africa, they don't even have a banking infrastructure. So the network strength of that area is extremely wide open. This is a chance for tech companies to jump on it. As we know in the United States, anything tech, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they have their hand in that pie, and they have such a powerful network strength in the United States that your really strong, real use case cryptos are going to look for areas of the globe with a weaker network strength, and Kaspa has capitalized on that. Now, drawing back to their central bank connections through Yes Capital. These are the guys from Berlin, Germany, head of all central banking. As soon as they started seed funding Jonathan and all the gentlemen from Israel, all of a sudden there's an IMF document released in the Sahara region of Africa talking about the mobile payment system, talking about how they're looking to switch to cryptocurrencies, all on a mobile payment system. In order to identify a pattern as a falling wedge, it has to be 18 days or more. You need 3 touches off of one wall and 2 touches off the opposing wall. Both of the trend lines that are shaping the triangular formation must be at an angle. If one of them is horizontal, what you have now is either an ascending triangle or a descending triangle. Completely different pattern, completely different stats. The falling wedge breaks to the upside 90% of the time and has an average price increase of 150% to 250%. You can get this on an Excel spreadsheet, as well as videos where we've previously made trades. There's no back testing. We just use our methods to predict the future over the past 200 days, buying ourselves a license to teach technical analysis as we change $12,500 into what today is valued at almost $250,000 in Kaspa. The origin trend line is very simple, but to a newcomer, it may look like a very crowded chart. These are only Fibonacci pitches. This is just one tool, and there's only 2 of them on the chart. One is for support and one is for resistance. Now, these origin trend lines you can clone, and you'll find that they're repeated all over the Kaspa chart. We do this on Solana, Bitcoin, Render, Ethereum. This can be done on any cryptocurrency. Amazingly enough, nobody's ever discovered this before. We find our major support trend line started all the way back here from November 1st to November 25th of 2025, before the cup and handle even took place. When we take that trend and we clone it, it actually became the bottoms of this summer's cup all the way up into the handle. And when we put a Fibonacci pitch on it, look at how well the peak in April, the peak of the handle fit. And actually, we had this exact charting setup all the way back in August, if not before. And look at it, actually caught the exact top of the November massive candle. So these trend lines on the Fibonacci pitch are clones, vibration off of this origin trend line, and they'll give us massive insight into the price. And then, of course, we have the x-axis, or our resistance trend lines coming down. One of these was parallel with the falling wedge pattern. I've been watching some other YouTubers to see where they're at. Somebody did identify this trend line on their chart. My hat's off to them. What they failed to realize was when you clone that, you can take it all the way back here to the handle, and it fits like an absolute glove. And also coming off of the April peak, it's an origin trend line. It keeps repeating itself over and over again on the chart. We also can incorporate these into classical TA. Your ascending triangle, your falling wedge patterns. When you can incorporate an origin trend line into it, it gives us additional insight into the candle's path. The Patreon group contains a video library, about an hour and a half of meat and potatoes, all raw data. You will learn more from these videos than you will across the internet for the next 6 months. Half of it is designated to technical analysis. Half of it is to fundamental research. We also have a stack of printouts that you can get. The 24-point checklist, how to vet any cryptocurrency, and an Excel spreadsheet. The 24-point checklist, this is the tool you're looking for. As your pockets are getting more swollen, so's your confidence. You're probably eating right, getting exercise, and working the brain muscle. This is a guide so you will use your time more effectively. How much is your time worth? Because I'm going to save you buckets loads of time, and also point out some amazing insight, not only about this origin trendline theory, but the crypto market as a whole for $47. This is an extremely underpriced, overvalued group. We just barely hooked a Discord up 5 minutes ago. We're going to start to flesh that out this week as well. For any of you guys thinking about grabbing a leverage trade right now, let's exercise patience. The time that we would have wanted to get into this trade with Kaspa specifically was back when we realized we had hard support back at 10 cents. Now, there may be some other openings, not just on trend lines, but on indicators, and we get into that in detail on video inside the Patreon group. Thanks for checking this one out. We'll catch you on the next one.